Originally hailing from the Oberlin FFA chapter, after a wide-ranging 4-H and FFA career, which included serving as the state FFA sweetheart, Dia graduated K-State in agriculture economics and currently lives in Lincoln, Nebraska with her husband and 3 children. After working in both banking and higher education, Dia is now a software developer and agile coach for Huddle. In her free time, Dia loves to volunteer around her kids' many extracurricular high school activities and at their local church. As a more fun question, Dia, what's your favorite smell?
Well, I'm going to reveal a lot about myself. There's so many cool smells out there, especially in the spring. But still, out of all of them, the smell that catches me every time is pulling up to the Starbucks drive-through window and just getting that whiff of coffee. That's the best smell.
Josh Rowe grew up in the Belleville FFA chapter and attended K-State in Ag Econ. After graduate school at Iowa State, Josh has served in K-State Research and Extension as an economist and as Deputy Secretary of Ag for the Kansas Department of Agriculture. Now, Josh is the Vice President of Kansas Corn and lives outside of Manhattan with his wife and 5-year-old son and helps with the family farm in his spare time. Josh, having served once already on a nominating committee, what are you looking forward to most about serving again this year?
Without a doubt, what I look forward to the most is just really intimately getting to know those candidates through that, because it's just amazing that you just inevitably, agriculture is such a small circle, and so inevitably you stay in touch with that crew. And so I've had that good fortune over the years to get to know, I would venture to say even a majority of the state FFA officers through interacting at different things. That's always nice to stay in touch there. But when it was part of NomCom, I was exposed to a lot more, than just the ultimate, the final slate of officers. And so just really looking forward to seeing this next group, which is the best and brightest of what I get to look forward to as future colleagues in agriculture.
After growing up in Inman, Kansas, Drew has put his talents for relationship building, strengthened by his year as a state FFA officer, to work in a career stretching from leadership development with Farmhouse Fraternity to donor engagement for the K-State Foundation, and now at Huddle as a sales representative working with high school athletes and coaches. Drew, what are some of those skills that you gained in the jacket that have helped you later on?
So I think one of the big things that I've learned over time is FFA really helped bring me out of my shell. So I would have said I was one of the kids that would be one of the quieter ones, maybe more. I fall more on the introvert side than the extrovert, even though a lot of what I do is around extroverted people. I think one of the biggest things that FFA really helped just, bring to light my personality more and be able to get out and meet new people, make those connections, develop relationships that have, lasted many years and will last for a long time. And that has really helped me to be able to connect with so many different groups of people. I mean, whether that's somebody who's sitting in the back of the room who, is maybe a little bit quiet, just needs a little bit of a push to get out there and explore their, opportunities in FFA, to those that are ready to jump right in and really are captivated with that energy. That's the biggest thing I think that anybody can take from is being able to work with others and build those skills to be able to utilize that in your whole life.
Emily's hometown is originally Sabetha, Kansas, although now she lives in Olathe with her husband and 2-year-old daughter, Lily. Inspired by her college involvement in agriculture communications and groups like College of Ag Ambassadors, Emily pursued a career in higher education. She spent time as a K-State admissions representative and now works at the K-State Olathe campus. Emily, you've gotten to serve on and even chair nominating committee in the past. Share with us a little about what you enjoy most about serving.
So I thought about this for a long time, because, the answer is really easy. So the candidates, meeting them and getting to know them has just honestly each and every time, I don't want to sound too cheesy, but it almost renews my spirit a little bit, I have met so many individuals that come from very different backgrounds, very different, stories, but they're each there like for the exact same purpose, and their heart and drive like motivates me to no end, and so I when you asked me to if I'd consider being on nominating committee, I was like, oh my gosh, of course. Like I every single time I'm always so inspired because I know that like these students, like the field of agriculture, like our workforce in general, like these are the people that are going to make such a huge impact. So anyway, meeting the candidates is why I love serving on nominating committee.
Tracy grew up in the countryside of northwest Kansas and attended school at Prairie Heights in the small town of Jennings. After graduating K-State, Tracy spent 23 years with Syngenta, eventually leaving the company after serving in many roles, including head of product marketing. Now, Tracy consults and advises startup companies in the industry. Some of Tracy's favorite smells include lilac in the morning, a K-State game day tailgating barbecue, western Kansas in the morning after a summer rainstorm, and breaking open the silage pile on a crisp fall morning to feed cattle. Tracy, what tips and advice of yours would future leaders in the ag industry like ourselves benefit from hearing?
I would share this, and it's something that I'm pretty passionate about. And I think Max, it's something that I would hope that all the attendees, virtual attendees of the convention, can also appreciate, because I think it will serve them well. It's the following: is that leadership will always matter, and leadership is not only being at the front and being at the podium, but leadership, more importantly, over time, will be learning new skills. So when you start looking at agri-science, when you start looking at innovation and technology in agriculture, it's going to require lots of learning new skills over decades as the technology waves change. And so the skill itself is not to so much master a specific subject matter, but master the ability of agility. Master the ability to learn new skills and see how that can solve problems differently, or solve or create solutions that we don't even know we had a problem. But leadership is more than just the public speaking, more than just motivating and inspiring. That's what we all think of it. At the essence of it, it's learning new skills and applying that in the context of the challenge or opportunity in front of you.
Mrs. Stover originally grew up in Beloit, Kansas, and after graduating K-State Animal Science, returned to the family farm where she and her husband Jeremy now raise shorthorn cattle and show calves. She now teaches ag education at Ellsworth FFA. Mrs. Stover, what was something you gained in FFA that has helped you now later on?
Truthfully, probably some of my most humbling moments actually happened in the high school ag shop. When I started out, I definitely wasn't the best at doing stuff in the shop, which was pretty tough because my dad was a professional welder at Sunflower. My brothers moonlighted at Sunflower as welders when they weren't doing college classes. And so I was like the bottom dog of the totem pole in my family. So going into the ag shop, I was expected to learn a lot. And for somebody who, for me, most of the time I was pretty intelligent and caught on stuff really quick. But that was tough. It made me use a different part of my brain and made me process problems, on a very contrasting spectrum than I was used to. So I learned about being humble from being in the ag shop, and I made a lot of mistakes, but truthfully, being in the ag shop, I'm so glad I took Mr. DeVore's ag shop for 4 years because I can weld, and that's awesome. I can actually teach kids to weld, which is great.
Now back home at the Center FFA chapter, Ms. Glenda is finishing her 11th year as the teacher of her original chapter. She loves being close to the family farm and playing with her 10 nephews and nieces. She remains involved in her local church and an active citizen of her small town community. What parts of your FFA experience, Ms. Glenda, have been the most valuable after your high school FFA career?
You go into being an ag teacher and FFA advisor, I think all of it is pretty much a big dynamic included in that. I am thankful for the public speaking experience that I gained, and then also like learning some of those skills of interacting with folks. I did always enjoy going, back in the day we called them MFE and ALD, the leadership conferences, which is now the Kansas Leader Lab, which is a little bit different. So I did enjoy that leadership capabilities and skills that were gained during that time as well. So it was always, when's the next one? When's the next one? Because you just drink it up.
Mr. Dillon grew up in the small town of Ozaki and was a part of the Meriden FFA chapter, now the Jefferson West FFA chapter. After earning his Ag Ed degree, Mr. Dillon taught at Atwood for 26 years, and in 2012 took the position at Kansas Department of Education as State FFA Advisor. He deeply values his family and his hobbies of competitive barbecue, woodworking, and gardening. What's one of your favorite quotes, Mr. Dillon?
Well, this is one that I've used ever since I became a teacher, and it's appropriate that yesterday was May 4th, right? So it's got a little Star Wars Yoda theme to it, but there's a little story to go with this. So I'll tell you the quote first. Is what, to kind of paraphrase Yoda, was do or do not, there is no try, right? So when I was a teacher, I always put quotes on every test or exam. Even before the internet, I'd have books of quotes just to kind of leave an encouraging word. And really early in my career, I used that quote. So you got to realize this is in the mid 1980s. So when I left Atwood, one of the parents put together a little kind of a goodbye notebook where they'd taken all the chapter officers I'd ever had and had them write, a little story about some of our interactions. One of my really early students, who is now a veterinarian, he remembered that quote, and he says, I still think about that quote every time I'm challenged to do something. So I thought, wow, that was after he'd been out of high school for 20 years and still remembered that. And I had kind of forgot about it, to be honest, but I just thought that's, I still think of that myself sometimes too, because I always give that excuse, well, I'm trying. I go, well, no, I'm really not. I'm just spinning my wheels a little bit, right? So.
Ms. Kane is now finishing her 31st year as Kansas FFA Executive Secretary. Before taking on the role, Ms. Kane earned her master's in education and taught in the Marysville and Osborne FFA chapters. She loves to travel while also always learning more about trends in agriculture education and is an avid athletics fan and reader. Ms. Kane, what are some of your favorite FFA memories?
I have a lot of them. Probably the ones that really stick out are and I'm not going to mention anybody specifically, but it is those memories that are most strong are the ones when I have really had the opportunity to coach an FFA member, whether it be for an award recognition or running for an office or thinking about future advancements, scholarships and those kind of things, and having the opportunity to coach them and then seeing that growth apply. And then them being successful and getting to celebrate that success with them is probably one of the things that I have enjoyed the most in this process and opportunity.
Garrett Craig is proud to be from Clay Center, Kansas. After a high school career dedicated to football, show choir, and FFA, Garrett began attending Kansas State University, where he served as the 2018-2019 State FFA Sentinel and 2019 Kansas National Officer candidate. He just finished his sophomore year majoring in agriculture education with a secondary major in global food systems leadership and a minor in horticulture. Garrett, what are you looking forward to most about serving on this year's nominating committee?
So this sounds really cheesy, but when I was going through the process, NomCom was scary. Like, they were a bunch of big, grown-up people, even the past state officers. I was so intimidated by them. So I think one thing that I'm really looking forward to being on the other side is just like, if I'm in an interview with someone, just smiling and saying like, hey, how you doing? And like, it's totally casual. Like, there's a sense of professionalism, sure, that has to be maintained because of the nature of the situation. But I'm just a person. And 2 years ago, I was literally in your same seat. So there's nothing to be worried about as far as like interacting with me or any other member of the NomCom. And I'm excited to like hopefully help you feel that once you get going through the process.
Miranda grew up on a family farm in Udall, a small town south of Wichita. She now just finished her sophomore year studying Ag Ed with a minor in animal science at K-State. She's a member of the Ag Ed and Dairy Science Clubs and works as a receptionist at the Kansas Department of Agriculture, as well as served on the 2019 National FFA Nominating Committee. Miranda, during our year, you were always reminding us of our whys. Would you mind sharing what your why is with us?
My personal why is that I want to make an impact. the type of impact that my ag teacher made on me, the way that she made me feel, just thinking back to our ag program and the things that I was able to do and how much trust that she had in me, and she pushed me and all the other students in our program to do really great things. I want to be able to do that with students that I have in the future. During FFA, I wanted to make those connections and interactions with students that I met along the way throughout the year. And I just keep thinking about that whenever, I'm in those little moments of darkness about what can I do right now to make some sort of impact on others that will make them feel the way that I felt.
Hi everyone. Serving as your narrator and nominating committee chair this year, my name is Max Harmon. I'm proud to be from Inman, Kansas, and just finished my second year at K-State, majoring in biochemistry and global food systems leadership, and where I was blessed to serve as one of your state officers last year. This process has been a crazy one, but I know it's been all the better for it. I'm so glad that even though we aren't in person, you all can still get to know us. I want to thank all of the incredible volunteers, candidates, and committee members who have stepped up to make a stellar process even better. We've been absolutely honored to serve as your nominating committee.